In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, the notice requirements have been satisfied. The meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the Publican Bulletin Board in the lobby of the Municipal Center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Notice of this meeting via the June 17, 2020 Sunshine Notice has been sent to the Record, Suburbanite, Northern Valley Press, and has been posted on the Bulletin Board and Borough website. Okay, so the first item to be considered is vacancies at the DPW.
Yes. Over the past few months, there have been a couple of resignations and 3 retirements, 1 death due to COVID, and 1 person was terminated, and still a couple of vacancies. And the department does need help in reviewing the 10 vacancies with the CFO and the impact on the budget. A lot of the changes have involved people that were much higher step, especially with those who are retiring. And both Susan and I are recommending, since there is a hiring freeze, of the 10 vacancies, to authorize no less than 8 be filled. And there are a couple qualified candidates that we have applications to move forward with that hiring process and put some bodies in, at least until the new director starts and he's not facing a huge deficit.
Okay, so there's 10 vacancies.
Yes.
And so you're recommending 8 hires, all driver labor.
All driver laborers, they'd be at the step 1 level, and that starting salary is $38,000. So Susan crunched the numbers, and just to leave some wiggle room with the budget due to all the unknowns with COVID, not to fill all 10 at this time, to move forward with 8 of the 10.
Okay, so council members, comments, questions? Julie, I think you were first.
Yes. So I just wanted to clarify, when is our new DPW director starting? Wouldn't it make more sense for that person to make the hiring?
So he will start on or about July 6th. That's a Monday, right?
Yes.
Yes.
July 6th. You were next?
Okay, so look, I understand you're recommending 8. I'm just curious to know why 8, why not 7? How you came to that number in terms of staffing needs, and what's more that we can leave for the new director to establish his mark, but I don't want to leave him too much. I think that would be a mistake, obviously. We don't want him to come in with a super short staff.
Well,
How do
that,
we arrive at the number?
at the number, because of the need, there were already 2 vacancies that needed to be filled, and we did not anticipate any of the current changes that took place. We didn't anticipate the 3 retirements, Larry's passing, or the 2 resignations. And so the department is really struggling right now to meet all of its needs. We are working at full staff. DPW isn't a skeleton crew, but activities are picking up. And you know, the new recycling trucks, although they're still delayed coming out of California, you need to have people in place trained to pick up the regular activities, while the more experienced employees will be trained with this new program and this new system. And, you know, people are due vacation time. They're taking vacation, and there are about a good 3 or 4 people that today could say, I'm retiring. So to anticipate any potential changes and shortages, and to ensure the new director is successful, we need to give them the proper resources.
All right,
Adam, and then, you know what? I'm sorry, Vanu was next.
No, I think Lauren is first, and then Adam, and then
Go
me.
ahead, Lauren.
Thanks, Vanu. I think one of our main goals in hiring this new director was that he was going to assess the needs, what our hiring would be going forward. So for example, if he wants an engineer and we don't have an engineer, if he wants an electrician, we don't pick and choose the types of employees that would fill the areas where we need more expertise or more hands. So I think it would behoove us to keep a majority of these positions in his discretion. We're bringing him in to do just that. And we hope to have these employees long-term. So I think it would make sense to give us the right employees and not just immediate employees. I have a real concern about just throwing a bunch of people in to fill vacancies right now and then having them contracted for the next 10 years if that's not the type of DPW specialty that we need. So I would prefer if we filled one or two to make sure we're not shorthanded, but I'd like to then have the new DPW director assess what our needs are.
Do you want to say something?
Yes, I just want to add with the current contract, you're not a foreman, you're just a driver laborer. And the people that I have hired over the past year, we've made sure that the person has some type of infrastructure experience, is more than just having a CDL, plumbing experience. If you want to create a category of somebody with engineering or electrician experience, you have to create that new category as part of the bargaining unit, and the starting salary will not be the same. So that's a budgetary implication that everyone will need to consider in the future.
Well, that's exactly the point. I mean, I don't just want to fill vacancies to fill vacancies. Tell us what our needs are, and then let's spend our money wisely. Because I think that the point of having the new director is to really assess what the needs are in the DPW, and potholes right now, maybe that's where we hire. But again, I would look to the director to give us guidance on that for our true needs.
Adam, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I agree with Lauren. We're talking about literally days. So I assume most people are not working on July 4th or that weekend. So you're literally talking about days before the director comes. If I was in that role, I'd like to look to hire people. So between that, what we're doing in HR now, I most certainly the 7 days before he starts.
Vanu?
Was that have anything to say, or?
No,
No.
that might be Susan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was Susan? No, I think Vanu was next. Vanu, you were waiting.
So if I were able to go before Lauren and Adam, I would have said exactly the same thing. I think we look at the background noise, but anyway, we look
Put
at
everybody on mute and bless the people. Yeah.
Everybody is on mute.
Hold on a second, please.
Everybody else is on mute.
Go ahead, Vanu. Everyone else is on mute.
So I think that taking it slow, especially if we're given this opportunity to kind of rebuild the DPW in what may be a better image, we can actually take and so if we go slow just to fill in a couple of the gaps that we have, but then allow the director the opportunity to build his staff and how he wants to build it.
I think Susan wanted to speak.
Okay, Susan. Thank you, Vanu. Susan.
I think what Lizette's trying to get out of this right now is approval to hire so many spots. So when the DPW director comes on, you can just immediately do this, because you're talking about a third of your resources down. You don't want chaos over there. So I think if they will know that we can move forward.
We have a couple applicants that I could get on board, but normally to solicit, vet, and get the police driver's license check.
Lizette, we hear you talking to Mark over Susan. We got to do better at this.
Okay. So I think what Lizette was trying to say is we have almost a third of the resources are either retired or gone. We still have the 2 vacancies. We just want the authorization that we're going to replace maybe 8 of them and to let the DPW director, which you're not going to hire all these people before he gets on, move forward with this immediately because we hold out 2, which were the 2 we were originally holding out. If we, don't need those spots in the future, because right now we're going to have chaos down there unless you, as a governing body, say that we're going to be fulfilling these spots. Is it got about a third now?
Vanu?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't see, I mean, as, Councilman Michael said, we're talking about, a couple of weeks. So, I mean, is there anything that prevents us from just approving a couple today or, saying that we want to go ahead with 3 today and waiting a couple of weeks and saying, okay, we need a few more?
Okay, so here's a big, good question, Vanu. The thing is, it's June 22nd. Council doesn't meet again till July 13th, and the new DPW director starts on, as I said, July 6th. It takes about the process of going out, posting the ads, getting resumes, what have you, takes about 4 weeks. So really, it's kind of like what Susan said. The intent isn't to bring these people on before the new DPW director starts. It's to get the process going so he has resumes and applications to look at as soon as he comes on board. Otherwise, it's just going to take, he'll be without people until sometime in August. Go ahead, Lauren.
Well, that's exactly the point, though. Since it's going to take a couple weeks, I don't want to send an advertisement out for a driver laborer if we need an electrician. So I really do want to know what our needs are within the DPW. I want to spend our taxpayer. I think that we need to determine what the focus will be with our new DPW director and our foreman. So maybe they need to have a meeting before we send out any advertisements to fill 10 positions.
Well, I mean, that you raise a good point, but we didn't budget for new electricians or plumbers. That's not in the budget. We budgeted for driver laborers because during the budget time we assessed that's what we need more of. So that's we understand that status of it. Is it possible that the new DPW director says we really need an electrician in-house here or a new mechanic because the mechanic's going to retire, but that's a separate hire. The mechanic is budgeted already. So if the mechanic retires and we have to look for a new mechanic, that we would do that, just like an electrician.
So what are the positions that are open right now? Give us the titles. Is it 10 driver laborers? Is that what we're talking about?
Driver laborers. They're all driver laborers. 10 openings for driver laborers.
Yes, you're either a driver laborer or you are a specific foreman,
Right.
like a parks foreman, tree foreman.
Well, that makes a difference.
Usually when the ads have been put out, like we were short a mechanic, we put all the information driver labor and we put plumbing experience preferred, mechanic preferred. That's how we obtained the one mechanic. So you could put the regular driver labor as a contract and cite certain areas of expertise that you need preferred. You don't need 10 electricity, you don't need 10 mechanics, but if he gets 12 resumes and 2 of them have electrical experience, the other 2 have infrastructure experience, and the rest have auto body experience, that gives them something to work with.
Vanu?
Yeah, but I mean, without trying to beat a dead horse, the point being that if you go out for 2 now and get the resumes in so that he's able to fill in those 2, determine what his needs are. And he have the resumes anyway. If the resumes to work, then that'll fine. In terms of understanding what the needs are, or just putting it up at the end.
Okay.
Any other comments from anyone? We do know the needs are for driver laborers, so that's the need.
Can we ask our current DPW director how many driver laborers he thinks he would like to hire immediately?
Well,
And
he would
somebody get
want
back to
to.
us?
He would want to hire 10. We don't want to hire 10 because it's too many. Yes, Vanu.
Yeah, can I ask again? I mean, you mentioned it, but which DPW people have left? What positions do they hold?
I could.
Three.
You want me to answer that?
No, I'll
that?
answer that. We had
Okay.
2 retirements at the foreman level. We have another retirement at the driver labor level, and the rest of the vacancies are driver labor levels. So the one and plus the other vacancies. The one foreman position was filled internally in-house. So every other position is at the driver labor level with the exception of 1 custodian.
So
Thank you.
how about
Yes, go ahead, Adam.
proposal? So again, so let's, I think someone brought up the 2, let's put a posting out for 2 driver laborers, as long as the DPW director is part of the interview process. So you told us it's going to take some time to source a number of candidates. We're going to source a bunch. As long as the DPW director is part of that decision, he'll be able to know he's making the right people, and hopefully you're going to get many more than just 2 resumes for those 2 positions. Then you'd have very easily, once he's in place, and see maybe there's 6 people on the that you get are good, then we could come back on the 13th or so on to extend that. Let's start with the sourcing process now. That would be my proposal.
Any other comments?
I agree with Adam. You're going to get a handful of resumes for any driver laborer position. So I say we give a small number, 5, 4, and then we'll have the resumes. And like Adam said, we've already done a search. We can always hire more as we go.
Okay, so it sounds like a couple of things. Is 1, we can start the search. It seems like everyone agrees with that. 2, the new director will make the final decision on each individual person because it's going to take several weeks for the search. And now the only open item is, I've heard 2, 4, and 5 in terms of the number of openings we can have that he'll be able to decide on. Is everybody good with 5? Vanu?
2.
2? Anybody else?
I'm not understanding. Did you say that he will decide on or that we will advertise? Those are 2 different
just
questions.
advertise for driver laborers. We don't announce.
We don't put the quantity.
We don't put the quantity. We just advertise for driver laborers. It's the approval from the council that we need to hire X number.
Yeah, but what, Mark? I think they should just put the ads out and then see how many resumes we get. And when the new DPW director comes on, let him assess what he needs. You guys put 2 on this with 8 people leaving. This guy is going to be under-resourced, and you're going to lose another qualified candidate.
Well, if
You overwhelm him.
Jeff?
The one thing that's confusing me, on one hand, we're talking about advertising for these driver laborers. I thought I heard, and Lizette, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought I heard you already say we have a bunch of resumes already in, qualified people.
Well, people have been submitting resumes and we've taken them, but we've told them there is a hiring freeze. We cannot even interview anybody until the governing body gives authorization. Off of memory, there are at least about 3 or 4 people that are worth interviewing that have public works experience. That's without doing a new solicitation. These were unsolicited resumes that people dropped off.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we do
Go ahead. Sorry, Jeff.
resumes in hand at this moment, but then to your point, Mayor, I'm trying to understand what, if anything, you were suggesting in terms of how many we ultimately hire. You were throwing, I heard 2, 5. I know you were
Right.
just asking, but
So the question is, right, we have our next council meeting on July 13th, right? And we know when the director's starting. So we're looking for the freedom that give him the freedom to hire. If he decides he only needs 2 people, so be it. If he decides he needs 4 people, so be it. So all we're trying to do is tee up resumes for him to review by advertising for the open positions, and then giving him freedom up to a certain amount to hire those people at the speed he thinks appropriate, without having to come back on July 13th or to wait to then if he wants to fill them before July 13th.
Or wait till August.
Or wait till August, because if we start July 13th, we're not doing it till August. Yes, Lauren.
So I'd like to propose then we give 5 and 1 custodian, and then there's some additional positions in which he can craft after he gets a sense of what our DPW needs.
So do we have an opening for custodian? No.
Yes, we do.
So
we might privatize that though, because we haven't had luck with custodian.
Okay, all right, so it's a whole separate
Yeah.
conversation. Okay, all right, so we've got 5 plus 1. Is everyone good with that? With the, okay, Vanu, go ahead.
Yeah, I still say that, you know, we should put out the ad, so we're gonna get the resumes in, but we should only authorize 2. And then, you know, then once the person comes in and assesses the need, right, we're not gonna be able to hire anybody within, you know, 2 weeks of them coming in anyway, outside maybe the first 2. And then let him assess the needs and then request.
I have a question.
Who has a question?
This is Dan.
Dan, yes.
How many of those positions are needed daily or can be offset with the schedule change we have?
I mean, basically, at this rate, all they can get done is meeting the mandatory recycling requirements. That's it. So potholes are on the wayside. You know, if there's a sewer break, which has been happening recently, then recycling is delayed. Parks will have to wait. The maintenance of the landscaping of rural properties. So you're really bare bones, like Susan said. You're down 1/3 of the workforce.
Yeah.
And like I said, there are about 3 or 4 guys that could go online and hit the button and retire.
Right.
And you want to make sure that your new director is successful. And the only way to be, one of the ways to be successful is to make sure he has the proper resources to carry out the state mandates and whatever the governing body assigns to him.
Vanu?
And in the future,
Sorry.
if current driver laborers are to be, let's say, specialized in a certain field, can that be done in the future based on their work experience?
That is a labor negotiation discussion.
Like a title change?
You would have to create the structure in the new contract, and then with that, you'd have to create a compensation. You can't treat somebody that's specialized and has ASC certification and whatnot compared to somebody that just has a CDL.
Gotcha.
So,
Right.
But those are details that cannot be discussed in a public session.
What about titles that don't have special certs like that? Groundskeeper, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
That's a driver laborer, isn't it?
I mean, you could have driver laborers that are dedicated to departments. If we have 2 who are dedicated mechanics, we have 1 who's dedicated to the tree department. But to have like buildings and grounds driver laborers, to have electrical driver laborers, sewer labor, that is all collective bargaining discussions. That this is not the forum to have that discussion.
Gotcha.
Do we have a date on when the recycling trucks are going to be here?
We just know that there is a delay because the parts and the assembly are coming from Canada. So we're waiting to have a new ETA. But COVID has delayed everything.
So we don't know, a month, 5 months.
Right. So the direct answer to your question is no. Originally, they were supposed to show up in June. They've delayed that answer, and we're waiting for that answer. I mean, we'll probably have the answer in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Jeff?
original last minute anyway to get the program going was October, so I'm not worried so much about that. I think to Lauren's point before about 5+1, we give the guy flexibility. We know there's a certain number below which they will not be able to operate efficiently. I've already heard it from guys at the DPW who are able to do certain assigned tasks because they're being pulled for recycling because there's not enough power. So I do think that the idea of giving him the ability to hire a few right from the get-go. Lauren's number was good, 5+1.
On mute. Mark, you have to put yourself on mute.
What?
Mark has to put himself on mute.
Mark, me?
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm with Lizette in a conference room.
Yeah, both of you. The noise is coming from you.
Correct.
It sounds like you're in a wind tunnel.
Because it's the only room with air conditioning in this building.
Yeah.
Anyway, to finish my point, we give him enough to be able to make the decision quickly. And if he needs more, we have a meeting soon after on the 13th. And he comes back and says, please give me permission to hire X number more. I've talked to Bob Colbert or whatever. I've talked to my 4 people. I think that's the logical way to go so that we don't end up with failure when we start.
So you're on the same page of 5+1?
Yes.
Lauren, Adam, how do you feel about that? Everybody good with that?
It's fine. Let's move on. We talk a lot.
Okay. So got that, Lizette?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Correspondence. I guess I'll read these letters.
You don't have to read them into the record.
I don't have to?
No.
Okay.
So the first one is from.
We have our first letter from Sam Bruno talking about raising questions about the appropriateness of borough's existing named streets and roadways. Any council people, you all have that in front of you, and we want to discuss this.
Yeah, so Mr. Bruno had originally sent me this, and here's my thinking. We do have some streets that probably are not appropriately named. That being said, there's a cost factor if we were to change the street name, for example, Columbus. We all know that Columbus started early on the slave practice, mistreatment of Native Caribbean Americans. A lot of things that were wrong about what happened with him, and we have a street named after him. That being said, to change people's driver's licenses, to make the changes in the official documents would be tough. I was wondering if there was a way that we could either A, give a street a secondary unofficial name, or B, give an intersection along it an appropriate name, because an intersection doesn't have any deed holders, doesn't have any addresses on it, but at least we could have there in it Lenape in honor of the Native Americans who were here first, Independence. There's a whole bunch of, but I wanted to see if I was interested, because I think Mr. Bruno raised a good point with tearing down statues of Confederacy, and there's questions about whether Columbus Day should even be a holiday. And so it's tough to change street names. I think we could still do something.
Other comments?
Can everybody mute? It's Lizette and Mark. I know this is hard, but please try to mute. We can't hear each other.
Can you?
I like the idea, Jeff. Like you say, the devil's in the details. I mean, it's really tough with a street. Let's name Columbus. I don't even know you said an intersection. What is that exactly?
You can actually name an intersection where traffic light, like Columbus and Jefferson, which would be kind of interesting because you have a guy who abused Native Americans and spread disease at the intersection of a guy who owned slaves. I mean, certainly we could name that intersection something appropriate, and you put up a sign over it. This intersection is.
I think it's an interesting idea. I mean, I'm open to it if the other council people are, I'm open to it. I hope the other council people are too. I do think renaming streets is a whole nother ball of wax, but I'm liking an intersection. I would just caution that we do it sparingly and, not everything, just the big ticket guys.
So,
And I was
Any-
actually suggesting.
any other comments from council members? Vanu?
Yeah, hi. So I agree with, Columbus and maybe Mayflower are kind of like obvious, names that need to kind of be looked at. But the problem that we run into is, I mean, a lot of streets in the town, there are a lot of streets in the town that we don't know the origin of the name. We don't know what their status was, whether it was named after.
We can't hear you again because of the host.
How could they even?
And Mark, you gotta, thank you.
So, we have a lot of other names, a lot of Dpeister. I mean, I don't know necessarily if Dpeister was named after somebody who may have been a slaveholder. We have a lot of these names that when you look back into the past, you may be, kind of stuck with the situation where there's a lot of, stories there that we may not be happy with. So, I mean, Columbus and Mayflower, there may be 2 or 3 that are obvious, but there are others that are not so obvious.
But what would you
Jeff,
do
go
about
ahead.
those? What would you do about those non-obvious ones?
So to that, excellent point. There is a list, and I've seen it. I have to remember where I found it. It's in I think it's actually at Davis Johnson. That gives the history of the naming of all the different streets in town and the people associated. And I did start to just go through an internet search. First of all, time any of these people were around New Jersey, gotten rid of slavery for quite a while. None of them are slave owners. Whether there's racism is not recorded in articles about that, but I looked, and a lot of the streets are named for even children of some of the famous people who are not famous, but founders of our town. So it's an interesting history. I will find that. I will scan it, and I will be happy to have it shared with the council so we can actually see the origin of the name. But I didn't want to belabor the more obvious as suggested.
So would the council like to put this on the next council agenda under to be considered for further discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Did anyone look at the costs and the process to do this?
No, we received a letter from Mr. Bruno, and this is the first time it's been discussed. Nothing's been done. So if we move it to be considered to the next council meeting, we can discuss it further at length and decide to maybe put a couple of people along with a couple of council people, plus maybe Mr. Bruno to have an offline discussion about it. Okay. All right. The next correspondence is from Max Bausch regarding acknowledging the rainbow flag that we fly in our town and requesting flying a flag to Black Lives Matter. Does anyone next to the pride flag? Does anyone have any comments about that? Lauren?
I thank you, Max, for acknowledging both the pride flag and the Black Lives Matter flag request. I am in support of this. I think that we as a community need to acknowledge this movement, that there's stark differences in how people are treated the racism here. We've spoken recently on the Interfaith Community Council about the ignorance and intolerance, and I think this is just another community being unaccepting of that kind of behavior. And I do agree that we should acknowledge this protest and these movements in this way.
Other comments? So I'm just going to add that one of the things I think we should, I know that TNEC has a flag policy that I have not seen, but I was told today that it does exist. And I think we need to look at a flag policy and be a little cautious, because while everyone on this call supports the Pride flag, the Black Lives Matter flag, and movement, we have to be a little cautious in terms of what other people may want to fly flags here that we're not going to want to see, for sure. And so I would recommend that let us take a look at the flag policy in TNEC so that we understand some policies better. Go ahead, Lauren.
I strongly disagree. Policy.
Anybody? So
no. Let me finish, please. I strongly disagree that we should model anything after the TNEC flag policy. We looked at this flag policy with the attorneys 3 years ago when we were asking to raise the Pride flag. It is very viewpoint specific. It's very I would not like Tenafly to follow that policy at all. We have a limited public forum on our flagpole. I think we can take each request as we can, but we should not be basing this decision based on any viewpoints here. We have opened up our flagpole to the public, and I believe that TNEC policy is not applicable to us anymore.
Right. So I'm not. So thank you for that. I'm not familiar with it. I'm only told that there is a policy that exists. So if it's not going to be acceptable to us, I mean, that's okay too. I think we really need to have this conversation with our borough attorney in terms of flag policy. And if we do for a couple of people for great causes, what does that open us up to? And I think we all understand what that could potentially mean. So I would recommend that we punt this to Anthony Bacci to get his opinion offline, and then we'll continue the conversation at the next meeting if everyone agrees. Okay. All right.
Downtown
okay.
Committee banner. Downtown
Committee has a banner request, banner display request. Anybody have comments or issues with that? Jeff?
I think the idea of a banner like that is fantastic. My only question of the applicant, actually, and those who are supporting it, is there any room to talk about the words readery? Because I think we've done some wonderful things for our restaurants. We have really important, but we also have other businesses. I think eatery obviously is meant to put up the image eatery, and I think we owe it to all our businesses, like Tenafly Mall, Tenafly Plaza. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, but I was hoping if there's room to talk about that, I would personally appreciate it for the sake of more inclusiveness.
So it sounds like everyone's okay with the banner, but Jeff has raised a good point. So perhaps Adam and Lauren want to have a conversation with Gene about whether it can actually be enhanced a little, the message. But everyone's in favor of it, it sounds like. Okay.
Are there any thoughts on the question? Yeah, are there any other recommendations from the council on other names, or certainly happy to take it back to the downtown committee?
Julie, go ahead, Julie.
How about promenade? I always like that word.
I love that.
Okay, why don't I take the action and take it back?
I like Adam's suggestion, considering they're proposing this banner. Let them give us another option.
Okay.
Julie, I do like that one.
So do we have to, sorry, just for process wise, I don't want to, obviously we can't wait another 2 weeks. Just process wise, if we come back to this, happy for Lizette to share the new recommendation with the council, and then they can immediately approve it off cycle, such that we can get the banner made for in the next couple weeks. Is that?
That's correct, because the council basically just approved the banner pending a couple of minor changes in words.
Thank you very much. Thanks, team.
Okay, we're moving on to the resolutions. We're adding the one resolution in, correct?
We are swapping a resolution. Susan could elaborate on this further. Initially, we thought we needed an authorizing resolution for certain COVID-19 purchases, but upon further evaluation with the auditor, resolution CC is not needed. So we could substitute that title to authorize execution of bargaining agreement contract with the administrative bargaining unit.
Okay. Anyone have any questions about the resolutions? Lauren?
So I would like to know, I just want to double check all of these TVAC in the 2020 budget. That's what we budgeted. There's nothing new here, right?
Nope, everything is, you'll be seeing these and others, and it always relates that it was approved in the 2020 capital budget.
Okay, I'm just checking that. And then I have a second question about the grants. So,
Okay.
And we're allowing numerous grants to go forward. One of them is to make an open space trust committee. Is that the same thing for a grant, or is that just a committee to discuss open spaces?
No, this is for the Bergen County open space grants that are solicited every year. You have to identify 2 employees that represent the borough, because once those grants are submitted, then there are public hearings in which these employee representatives attend and advocate on behalf of the borough. So this is a requirement from the county.
Okay.
As well as
I have a question on
CDBG
M.
one.
And the library grant is not included in this, right?
No, that was submitted months ago. We're waiting to hear about its review, if there's an award, partial. So that hasn't arrived yet.
Okay, thank you.
Dan, your question, then Vinu.
Dan, then Vanu.
The Serpentine Road one, is that coming out of the, sorry, I forgot the name of the grant.
COA
COA,
Trust
yes.
Fund. Yeah, it's part of the spending plan.
Cool, thank you.
Vanu, please.
Vinu's on mute.
Vanu, you're on mute.
So the for the bill list, it was. I kind of wonder if all of the items were looked at through the lens of essential spending. And that's one question. And then the other is very project for 238.
Wait,
Do we know what that what's included in that?
230.
What's the question?
I don't know, he's, Vinu, you're breaking up.
breaking up a
I
little
just
bit,
heard
Vinu.
spending and 38.
Okay, so was everything on the bill list looked at with the view of essential spending? Because certain items on there, I'm not necessarily sure, correspond to essential spending, but looked at with a view of essential spending.
Yes, because I look at it and then Susan looks at it before a purchase order is generated. And Susan issued directives to the departments about spending last week as well. So it doesn't requisitions do not arrive on the bill list for your review until it has been scrutinized on 2 other levels.
Because for example, there were motor vehicle parts and accessories. There were something like 70 or 80 invoices on there, for $6,655, and got sure that all invoices were absolutely necessary in a
Yes, absolutely, because otherwise the fleet wouldn't be able to go on the road. These repairs were mandated.
Okay. So
Otherwise, then you would spend more on contracting for services.
I mean, it's beyond the normal is what I'm saying. Is normally in a non-essential spending period, you have maybe far less.
Yeah. Well, the fleet is aging and it's heavily used more than a personal vehicle. And these are heavy equipment items that are much more expensive than a traditional passenger vehicle.
Okay. And then the other question was on Resolution 238.
Yes.
The various streets project. There was no real explanation of
Yeah, because 237 and 238 go together. 237 is to authorize the submission of the grant, and the backup to 237 explains that the application is from Engle Street, from Hudson Avenue to Highwood Avenue. The labeling of the actual grant submission as various streets, that is terminology that DOT requires. We don't have, it's not letting us identify the street, it's just various streets. But the backup to 237 goes with 238, and that is the work that is being done. So it's Engle Street from Hudson Avenue to Highwood Avenue.
Can I ask a question on the Hudson Street, Vinu? Do you mind?
Yeah, please.
We just repaved part of Hudson under a grant and it looked beautiful. And then somebody has now spray painted brand new paving. Is this Suez, electrical? Can somebody tell me what work is about to be done that's either going to open our street or do something on that street?
When did you see this? This is, what did you
Today.
see? Checkouts?
It's completely spray painted now from, let's see if I can get the roads right, from County to Piermont.
It depends on the color. If it's yellow, it's PSC&G. If it's blue, it's United Water. If it's green,
both. It's both. It has blue and yellow.
So when I'm not,
everyone's ripping up the street.
That doesn't necessarily mean that. We don't know what it means because we didn't do the mark out. So we can check. We can ask and check that one tomorrow.
For a brand new street to be opened, that would be awful.
Jeff, did you have your hand up? Yes, Lauren.
Oh, I wanted to see. Vinu, are you done? Because I didn't want to.
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to say for those in the audience and the residents that are listening, included in this list of resolutions are some major things that the borough's doing. First, we're executing our collective bargaining agreement with our Tenafly police, which took about 1.5 years to negotiate. So good job, council, to get that done. We have the official hiring of a brand new DPW director who starts in 2 weeks, as you guys have all heard. We're authoring our engineer to do various work around the town. We're adding ADA pathways to Roosevelt Common. We're adding ADA bathrooms to our borough hall. And numerous other things that our council is working on. So for those of you who don't have the information in front of you, I think these are some very large things and we hope to make a big difference.
Thank you for saying that. Lizette wants to jump in about a previous comment.
I just received notification that it was marked, Hudson Street was marked out by Suez for digging, but they were denied by the DPW administrative consultant. So that street is not being touched.
Would have been awful.
Julie, please.
Will they then remove the spray paint that Lauren saw?
No, that washes away with the rain.
Oh, okay, got it.
Any other questions or comments about the resolutions? No other hands up. So we just move right to the video. Or do I need to ask about public hearings?
Yeah, you have to ask questions if anyone has questions.
Any questions about the public hearings? No? Okay. We're going to go to the good of the order. The first one is temporary suspension of commuter parking lots, F and H. Councilman Michaels.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as many of us know, we're seeing more vibrance to downtown, which is wonderful. And thanks so much to the Downtown Committee. We've gotten a lot of feedback on additional desire for more parking. And to that end, and the goal is to help everybody. What my proposal is to the council is we have 2 commuter lots that traditionally, my wife included, would park their car and drive into and take the bus into the city every day. The proposal is to lift temporarily, since people unfortunately are not taking the bus as much anymore. So there's more additional parking spaces downtown for people to pop in. Thank you so much. I see the team from the pet store. That's wonderful. Thank you for joining. Give them more parking space just to pop in, get some pet food, and go on from there. So for the council is just to temporarily suspend the commuter parking.
Any questions from council members?
And there's a sample resolution link.
Lauren?
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Yeah, I'm the owner of the pet store, and I'm really sorry.
Hold on, Lauren is,
Hold on.
hold on
Ma'am,
a second. Lauren,
there's no public comment at this time. When the governing body closes the work session and moves into the regular session, then there's a public comment period. But at this time, comment is only limited to the governing body members.
go ahead, Lauren.
Adam, thank you for working on trying to create additional parking downtown. Hoping to keep our downtown area full of people, as we've seen in the past week. I think it's really making a difference for our restaurants, and we're hoping to help our businesses get more parking. So let me ask you, which lots are at? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
The parking lots, and Lizette could clarify as well. This is across from Wells Fargo. That's one, and I believe the other one is by Cafe Europe. Is that correct, Lizette?
Yeah, in front of Mr. Walk.
Yeah. So these are both 2 great places, and adds tons of spaces. Again, think of the Wells Fargo one, dozens of spaces.
Sure, and they're both easily would walk to downtown.
Very much so.
Any other council members? So everyone is okay adding this to the resolutions tonight, the consent agenda, right?
Okay,
Looks like, yeah. So we're going to add this to the consent agenda this evening. Thank you, Councilman Michaels.
Just one more, Mr. Mayor, if I can. Same sort of line. Now we're starting to see the governor's allowed opening up more stores, so we're seeing some of more additional non-restaurants. Everyone got their hair done, which is very good. I wanted to see if the council was open to. There are a number of additional stores on Washington, like the Creatively Yours. I've used that a lot. Firescape or some of those. What do we have to do, or would the council be supportive of letting, similar to what we did last time with letting the restaurants on the streets, can we let some of the other businesses on the streets as well, assuming obviously everything from a health perspective is allowed? Is that something that we could agree as a council to give all businesses the opportunity to get outside?
Comments on that question?
Well, from
Julie, go ahead.
my perspective has always been just to keep the sidewalk clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm fine. We've carved out some space on the street, so
That would be the intention.
to my mind, that I have no issue.
Anyone else want to weigh in on that? So what do we do with that?
That is
in support.
something-
Yeah, you're in support?
That is something that has to be evaluated with the health department to ensure the social distancing.
Okay, so Lizette is saying we'll have a conversation with the health department tomorrow to, just make sure it meets all the requirements and social distancing, and let's continue that discussion tomorrow.
Is there a way to take, so it sounds like we agree as a council that we agree on this, and then barring any issues from the health department, we allow like the folks like Creatively Yours to, put a table out on the street and the kids could do pottery or the like? I just don't want to wait another 2-3 weeks to
Lauren,
take
go ahead.
action.
Adam, I think we have it set up in our resolution that we passed last time that any business or restaurant can come to the council and ask for the accommodation. And it's set up already amongst us. Am I incorrect, guys?
No, you could be 100% right there. So we'll check that out tomorrow, do our homework, and then we'll communicate about it. Vanu?
Yeah, I think you're right, Lauren, but I guess the question I have is there any restriction from the state? Like, I mean, or has that been relieved?
No, so we will check that. That's part of the homework to make sure from executive orders, the health department, that we're doing the right thing here.
Okay.
Yeah. But just barring that, the council seems to be aligned that everyone should have the opportunity to have space outside. So that's great. Thank you, team.
Thank you. We'll report back tomorrow on that. That was it for the good of the order.
No, Jeff has something, and Laura and Julie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Have
Yep.
something. Jeff has internet.
Oh, Jeff, sorry about that. Internet competition, Councilman Grossman.
Okay.
Hot topic.
So obviously with everybody being at home, there's been greater use of internet, working from home, all that going on. We only have one provider in Tenafly. So I had asked, and I appreciate, Lizette, you're digging into it. So apparently the Board of Public Utilities at the state level really the authority, and even they have minimal authority over this topic. I know a lot of people have been asking, is FiOS coming into town? FiOS is not required. We can't make them, and it's a little disconcerting. Not that we can't make them. I don't want to force a business to do it. The fact is that I'm hearing rumors that they are starting to put things in town. They're starting hookups. And we don't even know. We have no answers. And the Board of Public Utilities is acting on this issue, saying, well, they don't have authority over FiOS. They just 70 cities or something in the state. And I want to know if there's a way that we can at least find out, if not from the Board of Public Utilities, but from Verizon, what's going wrong. And if we can get an explanation, because it would be nice to be able to tell our citizens either something is coming in, it's coming in part way, or it's not coming in. So, but that's why I want it brought up.
Comments from anyone?
What should we do? I mean, if we send
So
a letter.
where do you want to go next, Jeff? Where do you want to go next, Steph?
Well,
Can we send a letter?
Obviously, the Board of Public Utilities was basically useless. Is there a way that we can reach out directly to FiOS and get a sense of what their game plan is, or tell our state officials that this system is crazy, that we can't even know in our own town what's going on? The state Board of Public Utilities be re-examining this issue at the very least. This is not new. This has been going on a long time. They want at least a choice.
Lauren?
Mark, I can't hear Jeff. You have to mute. That's one. But two, I know one of our residents has Congressman Pascrell, because they were having such bad internet issues that they couldn't get their children's homework and schoolwork done virtually. And so Pascrell actually responded. So Jeff, maybe that's where we start our conversation, reach out to our Congress representative and see what he has as his response.
Sounds good to me.
And I think also administratively, we'll reach out to FiOS also to see what can be done, if anything, at that level. At least maybe learn something about what their plans are, even if there's no plans.
Just beg for them to come.
Beg.
If you need any help from me, if you need help from me on doing that, let me know. I will be happy.
Thank you. All right. Who had an item to discuss?
Yes, I actually have two. So I've mentioned to my fellow council members that the 24-hour pharmacy doesn't exist around here anymore. There used to be some, and then now the closest one is the CVS in Fairlawn. I'd like to ask you all if I could represent us as a Tenafly council for me to approach other councils and attempt to get a collective approach where maybe then I could talk to Cresskill and I could talk to Bergenfield and approach one pharmacy, or well, number of pharmacies that would help our region, because I really think that's a real deficit. And right now, Creskill's got like a drive-through CVS. I'm just thinking with COVID and all that, there really is a need to have a 24-hour pharmacy closer than Fairlawn. And so that's just my like request to all of you is I'd like to be able to like approach other councils to see if we could get letters from different councils. And then I would go to area pharmacies to see if there's an interest, because they might not realize that some of the other 24-hour pharmacies that used to exist as of even a year ago do not. And they, you know, I'd like to bring their attention to the issue, and hopefully they'll reconsider, and one of them would like to stay open and give it a shot. So that was my first good of the order. So, I'll go to my second one unless there's anything for anyone to say.
Yeah, let's deal with the first one first. Does anyone have any comments to that? I mean, I'm fine with Julie doing that. How does everyone else weigh in? Banu?
So am I wrong that Walgreens in Bergenfield is not 24 hours? Are they changing? Did they change?
Yeah, they changed about a year back. They absolutely used to be a 24-hour one. The one at the corner there, I want to say by the train track was the one, unfortunately.
Washington, Newbridge, I think they close at 12.
No longer 24-hour yet.
Any other questions about that, or we're okay with Julie speaking to other councils about improving this? Okay, Julie, you got that one. Next.
All right, so number 2 is I was going to include this in my committee report, but I'm popping this over to for the good of the order because of Lizette's advice on this. So as you all saw in an email I sent to you, I'm the liaison to the health committee, and they feel very strongly about proposing, you know, additional health inspector hours. So I'm just bringing this up because now I know our CFO, Susan, is researching the budget impact. But I just wanted to bring it up that they were asking for we have a proposal about one additional day for health inspector on site to assist with COVID inspections or COVID-related health inspections, but that this would be temporary. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that if we had a consensus, then I believe the resolution would be able to be listed in mid-July, which would allow it to be back dated. So I'm just bringing it up because I know that the health committee had really wanted this, so I'm bringing this up during the good of the order. If we have a consensus for this, Susan, of course, jump in with whatever you know. I want to follow the protocols, but I just wanted to bring it up in this part.
Susan, you have a comment?
Well, so it would be an additional $9,000 to what we already budgeted in the public health department. Because in the budget, we don't have, everything is accounted for. So there's only a couple ways we could do this. And this seems like this is really an emergency type of situation because of COVID. So I could probably see if I could find a line item to charge to other professional services. As you know, I can't do budget transfers until November into the current line item. Or we would have to do an emergency resolution, which the $9,000 would be deferred to 2021 budget. I would think the first choice would try to be see if we could find a spot, a line item of other professional services. But if this is something that seems to be very necessary, necessary for the health and well-being of the public, have to do something.
Susan,
The
is this,
welfare of the public.
Susan, is this the 75% reimbursable by FEMA?
Well, I would think that if you have to do additional inspections from the health department, that it would be. I mean, we have to find out, but I would think that it would be.
It's important that the council knows that. Lizette, you have a comment?
Yeah, in discussing this with Susan, I did find an account with a line item that's other professional services that can cover most of the costs and the control of the entire account. That line may go over, but the entire control of that budget will not go over. And so I don't think we need to do an emergency. And by putting it on a separate line, because it would be under the administration budget and the health department is under administration, it's easier to code for reimbursement purposes. And then, like, adding to what Julie was saying when I spoke with her, is if there is consensus, then what would happen is that on the July 13th meeting, there would be a resolution authorizing this additional service, but there would be in the clause that this arrangement is retroactive to July 1st.
Susan,
Can I just say, I'm hopeful that it might not be all 9,000. I believe it was $1,500 per month. So maybe the extra inspector wouldn't have to be all 4 months. It could be resulted in 2 months, maybe.
Lauren?
It was my understanding that we contracted this position for the year. So is there a specific number of hours in that contract that we're exceeding? And if so, by how many?
Do you want to jump in with that?
Julie could answer that.
Julie?
Yeah, so there's a new proposal that that our health inspector put forth for an additional day for inspections. This is not contracted. This is out of the contract.
Susan, can you check with the county CFO? There might be other options for funding.
The county CFO?
I spoke with them in passing. You had mentioned some FEMA stuff. Just call them tomorrow, see if there's any other options from the county or state level.
His name's Joe, right? Joe?
Joe Latino, correct.
Yeah, Joe. Okay. I know him. I just call him.
Yeah.
But
Tell
then
him I told you to
what
call.
are you going to do? Yeah, I will.
If there's other options, there might be.
Any other questions or comments about that? Who was next?
No, that was it.
That was it?
Then we could go into the regular session.
Okay, so I need someone to make a motion, right?
Mhm.
Could we're ready to go into the regular meeting, so I need a motion to close the work session.
So moved.
The second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're gonna go right into the public meeting.
Mark and Liz, can I make a request? There's a lot of background noise, so when any one of us or the public are speaking, can you please mute? It's very difficult to hear.
Okay. In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, the notice requirements have been satisfied. Meeting dates for the year are confirmed at the annual meeting, are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center, and published in the record within the first 10 days of the new year. Copies of all revised or additional meeting notices are sent via fax to the record, the Suburbanite, and Northern Valley Press, and are posted on the public bulletin board in the lobby of the Municipal Center. Salute to the flag. Allegiance to the flag.
Flag,
United States
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Omar, can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Dayton,
Here.
Councilmember Grossman,
Here.
Councilmember Menon,
Here.
Councilmember Michaels, Councilmember O'Connor,
Here.
Councilmember Park,
Here.
Mayor Zena.
Here. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes of June 9th, 2020 work session, please?
So moved.
A second.
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 All in favor? You roll call?
No,
or-
it's all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, was that revisions to the agenda?
Yes, resolution R 20-248 is being changed to authorize execution of collective bargaining agreement with the Tenafly Administrative Employees Bargaining Unit. And a resolution is being added to suspend the permit parking only restrictions in municipal lots F and H from as of today through September 7th to coincide with the outdoor dining program. And with ordinances, there's an additional ordinance number 20-16 that is the salary ordinance that corresponds with the Tenafly Administrative Employees Bargaining Unit for calendar years 2020 through 2023.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to open the floor up to public comments. Audience members wishing to speak have 3 minutes, please. And if you can identify yourself by your name and your street when you start. What's that? You'll know.
Let's see. I don't see anyone with their hand
Is
raised.
anyone?
I have one crispy chicken sandwich,
Hold on 1 second.
and I have can I have the combo on that one?
How do you raise? Sorry, this is Andrew. How do you raise your
Medium,
hand? on
please.
this?
Okay.
I want Coke. Yes.
Take one of the
and
chicken
yes,
sandwiches
I
too
have
if
a
someone's
coupon
ordering.
that is $87.90.
Okay, do we know who's speaking?
No, the person has to give their name.
What is that?
Okay, why don't you mute everyone for a second?
It's another crispy chicken. It's a bobo crispy chicken sandwich.
Someone's literally ordering that.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And it sounded good.
That is only that one. And
Okay,
then
Matt.
one last one, right?
Okay, yes, we see you, sir. We're going to call you in a minute, waving there. Okay, you gotta be muted.
I'm trying to mute everybody.
Okay,
It's
hold
all
on.
right.
We're muting everyone who,
Yes, you did.
Yes.
There.
okay, who's got
Max has his hand up.
the individuals in the upper quadrant next to Councilman Michaels?
Oh, IBE.
Yeah,
Okay, they're unmuted.
are they muted or?
They're unmuted so they could speak.
Okay, hold on. What's their name?
It's
Valentina, if you want to speak.
Okay, Valentina, go ahead.
Yes, hi, my name is Valentina. I'm the owner of the Plaza Bedworth Tenafly. So since all the situation changed and when you put the blocks, my sales went down on 35% already. So the customers, they complain they cannot find the parking lot and they go just to different places. So basically, if it will continue until September 30, I will not be able to stay here. I was open during all this COVID-19. I did what I can for the people in the town, and now just because they put the blocks, I don't have any kind like customers, my good customers who used to come over and just take the large size bags because they're not able to carry this stuff. And basically, maybe if it's some another options, how we can this problem. Well, another problem is the half of the street is empty, and no one used the most the half of the block. And I just ask you to help me because I don't know how I'm going to survive with the difficult time. After COVID-19, at the end of May, my sales went up. I thought that everything is passed already, and after 2 weeks later, you put this blocks. So it's kind of very cute. Like you're just killing me. Please help me.
Okay, we're gonna listen to all the,
1 second, I have another.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bruno Gurkan. I'm son of the hair salon in downtown. I really appreciate it, guys, to you. Big efforts. Feel, with my clients also, I have some elderly clients. You keep calling, there's a lot of parking, but parking for a lot of people, but we can't able to use this parking spots, for our clients right now because they're sitting empty right now. We can't use for any reason right now. They're just sitting for nothing. Then after 5 o'clock, that's just kids coming there that they do bike and rollerblades and something else. Nothing else became like parking. Kids parking. I think want to help the downtown community. We should think better for everybody. Maybe we can push them away a little bit, different directions. The other business as well. We should consider about that blocks again. Have a good evening.
And thank you for your comments. And we are very sensitive to all the issues, and we're continuing to discuss them. We talk about it every day, inside and out. So there's more conversations to come on that, and you will continue to be included in those discussions. Okay, who's next?
Peter.
Peter?
Rustin.
Peter Rustin?
Okay, Peter, you're unmuted.
Peter, you're unmuted. No, you muted yourself, Peter.
Okay, you could go now.
Peter, can you hear? We can't hear you.
He's calling in.
Okay, so
He's calling in right now.
we can't hear him.
No, he'll be calling in.
He's calling in?
Yeah, he'll join in as a new user.
Is he there?
Peter?
Peter?
Wait, he's calling in. Oh, I think he's on now. Caller 9. Peter?
You have to mute Peter's screen so that he can talk and you won't get feedback.
All right, so let's try that.
I did that.
We did that.
And we lost.
Okay, perhaps we go to someone else while he's figuring out the technology there.
Okay, you have Christine Hebron and Max Bash.
Okay, Christine Everon, then Max Bosch. Christine, you're muted.
No, she's not muted. She's not muted.
Jeff, can you hear us?
I can hear Christine.
Christine, we're not hearing you.
Let me try Max and go back to Christine.
Let's go to Max. Bausch has his hand up. Let's see if we can hear Max. Max?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Your name and address, please.
And I'm going to ask Lisette and Mark to mute yourself when I'm speaking. Max Bash, 148 Magnolia Avenue in Tenafly. First of all, I want to thank Vinu for basically opening up last week about how he was a victim of racism in Tenafly. And I wanted to say anything because that opens up for me to basically tell that I was also a victim of racism. And if you remember, during the last election, my opponent was spreading all kinds of racist lies during the election. Not only that, but a member of the school administration was walking around spreading the same lies, and and I got complaints from everybody in town. A member of the police force in uniform was around and spreading the same racist lies. And of course, the opponent of when we had last week our Black Lives Matter movement did not even show up for that. I would like to read for you a posting that was in 07670, and I was asked to read it without paraphrasing, and I have to read it word by word. I know that meantime, Mark, you took a step during that protest and and speak up, so it's not going to be reflected on you. Here is the actual posting. As far as I know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor Zina, the Tenafly Police Department, Fire Department, the very ambulance corps of which I am a member, and other tax-funded groups have yet to publicly come out in support for the just treatment of humans and justice for the innocent, dead, and condemn the violence started by police and other figures of authority. Change starts with us, in our school, in our town. Please call the respective departments to voice your disappointment in their silence. Please spread the word to your family, friends, and neighbors. Silence is violence, and the leaders and protectors of our town need to speak up. And with this one, I end the quote. We need to start the change that we have a lot of, and we have a lot of work to do. The department in town needs to know that they work for the entire town and come and save us. Already started the flag raising for worthy causes 3 years ago. I would appreciate, Mark, if you can mute your phone.
Yeah, so are you done there? Because I want to respond to whatever that writer said.
No, I'm not done.
You're not done? Go continue.
We already starting the flag raising for worthy causes 3 years ago and decided at that time that our conscience is more important than fear, even if it opens ourselves to potential lawsuits or threats. To cop up for fear or not existing threats is to choose between conscience and fear. I don't believe that anyone would choose fear at this time when people are being killed for being Black. Silence is violence. I'm really expecting that the council will take a stand and join me in helping me to basically protect those rights. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those comments. Whoever wrote that, wherever you found it on Facebook, is sadly misinformed in terms of what this mayor and this council has done in terms of responding to the current environment in no particular order. So I'll tell you what I've done. The first thing that I did was I attended a vigil that was sponsored by Tenafly residents, and I was invited to it. I attended and spoke there. I was accompanied by the police chief, who also spoke there. Our ambulance corps attended. I believe one of the members spoke there, but I can't promise you that. I attended as a speaker a rally in Tenafly for Black Lives Matters, 700 people. I spoke there. Council members attended. The police were there handing out water amongst the 700 people. I helped the interfaith group put together a vigil, and I invited Sheriff Anthony Curitin to speak there. I also spoke. The police chief also attended that vigil. I believe there was one of the council members attended. Because of my speaking engagements in Tenafly and the vigils, I was invited up to Old Japan this past weekend by several high school seniors that had a Black Lives Matter rally in honor of George Floyd, and I spoke there. So, Max, I appreciate your comments, but whoever wrote them and gave them to you was very mistaken in terms of our environment, in terms of our involvement.
I specifically mentioned that you have since made very clear your position through your participation in all these events. So it's not
right. Okay. Let's. I understand that. I'm commenting about the other whoever wrote that. In addition, tonight one of our resolutions is about being, of course, against racism and all the issues with that. We're also going to have a proclamation tonight in favor of creating Juneteenth as a state and federal and local holiday. So this mayor and this council are very engaged and very passionate about this issue. But thank you.
Allow us to raise the flag to show to everybody.
Thank you for raising that issue, Max. I appreciate it.
I think Peter.
Thank you.
I think
Mayor, can
Can you hear me
Rusty,
now?
go ahead, please. We can hear you now.
Okay, before I have a few remarks I wanted to read, but before that, a couple of comments on things that you've gone over that might be helpful. I believe we passed a resolution or an ordinance some time ago making all the commuter lots available to anybody after 10 o'clock if the parking spaces are open, because commuters, by 10 o'clock, if they're not used, the spaces aren't used, they're not going to be used by commuters. You might want to check, I believe there's signage already that says commuter lots are open after 10 o'clock in the morning. It's more of a state issue than a federal issue because Verizon got the contract from the state, it's statewide. You might want to talk to your state representatives rather than Pastrell. Same thing with CVS. Mark, you as mayor might have more luck talking to adjacent mayors. Julie brought up an excellent point, but I think it's the mayors that need to approach CVS or Walgreens. Those are the two big chains that might be able to carry it. The reason there's no 24-hour pharmacies is because they're not profit centers. But a chain like CVS or Walgreens could carry it. Smaller pharmacies probably couldn't. Anyway,
Thank you.
my prepared remarks. I want to say good evening. Peter Rustin, Woodland Street. I wish to thank the council for taking the initiative to open up outdoor dining downtown. I also wish to thank those responsible for Tenafly Cares. Those two projects make us proud to be Tenaflycians. I do have a couple of thoughts about both. First, the downtown street closures. As I mentioned at the last meeting, you are unintentionally harming more businesses than you are helping. Folks at Tenafly Camera took a survey, which they shared with me. I'd like to share it with you. The following businesses supported public putting tables in the street in front of their businesses: Pavlin, Brasserie, Fish, the Diner. Che Cheese said no. They want parking spaces. The Tea Garden asked for tables on the sidewalk, but stated most of their businesses takeout, and they need parking in front of the store. You already heard from Plaza Pet World. They were very emphatic. I'll quote what they said in the survey. My customers will not walk the extra distance. We can't carry 50-pound bags of pet food down the street. We need parking in front of our store and an open road. Tenafly Kosher Deli said, and I quote, I need parking spaces. Customers won't walk or can't walk the extra distance. No parking means no business. I was in Tenafly Deli today, and a 95-year-old customer came in, bought a sandwich, and complained about having to walk so far. Tenafly Cleaners said, and I quote, customers won't walk the extra distance. They don't wish to carry clean clothes down the block. Tenafly Camera says, and I quote, near parking is very important to my business. Fire Shaper Tenafly, which is hot yoga, says, I need parking for my clients. They are carrying mats, towels, and water and do not want to walk through the downtown wearing yoga clothes. Pizza Nova says, and I quote, street closing is further impacting our already severely hurt business. Parking in front of our store is crucial for curbside pickup. Legay Artist, which is, I believe, a salon, says, my customers will not walk far in the rain or the humidity. After their hair is done, they want parking nearby. Also, some of my clients are elderly and don't want to walk. Cambridge Cleaners says, I need parking. My customers won't carry their laundry down the street. Our sidewalk is wide. If Fred wants to put tables in front of my business on the sidewalk, I support it. Fusion Cycle says, my customers need parking nearby when they drop off or pick up bikes. Floor and Decor states, we need parking. Customers will not carry items to and from the store. I'd like to offer my thought. For as long as we've lived in Tenafly, residents have complained about the parking. Taking parking spaces away is counterproductive. Taking more spaces than necessary makes no sense. There are 2 rows of tables in front of Brasserie stretching down to BYB. Move the barriers into the designated parking spaces to allow cars to pass eastbound. Double the length of the row of tables, single file, in the parking spaces, almost down the pet world. Thus, you have the same amount of tables, socially distanced, and traffic can now move in both directions. Get rid of the barriers west of Tea Garden, reinstating the parking spaces in front of the deli, the pet store, the camera shop. You're adding 10 parking spaces. Tenorfly Cares was put together with a twofold mission. Donations would first help feed the families in need and have local restaurants supply 100 meals a day, which would most certainly benefit those businesses. A win-win. Clarification as to if any Tenafly Cares money is being paid out for any purpose other than purchasing meals is needed. This includes purchasing, leasing, or moving the cement barriers, buying tables or umbrellas, etc. Also, I know that when the Tenafly Rotary Club made a donation to Tenafly Cares, the check was made out to the borough of Tenafly. Regardless of how you position it, that makes the borough part of this whole equation. And I find it hard to believe that the borough has no idea how money that is being sent directly to Tenafly Cares is being spent. Thank you for your attention and best wishes in these challenging times.
Okay, Peter, thank you for those comments.
Christine Evron is calling in.
Christine Evron, can you hear me?
All right, Christine Evron first. Go ahead, Christine.
I would like to echo Peter's thank yous to the Borough of Tenafly, the mayor and council, for the immense support you've been giving the business community during COVID, facilitating the delivery of restaurant meals to the needy, fast processing of the applications. The health department has been incredibly helpful, as has the building department, and quick implementation of measures to deal with changing circumstances are truly appreciated. We're looking forward to crosshatches to stop the traffic being blocked needlessly on Clinton, which, by the way, was that being considered today? I understood it was being submitted. On Clinton between Railroad and Franklin. We'd also like to thank all the volunteers who painted barricades to make them safe, the safety precautions attractive. For the most part, the measures the borough has taken to permit outdoor dining have been helpful, but we need some changes to avoid unnecessarily hurting non-restaurant businesses. On Railroad Avenue, there are barriers in front of Raina's and Goldstein Jewelers that should be removed and placed on the other side of Tavlin in front of the movie theater and Cactus Sushi, where they will not interfere with operating businesses. It would also be helpful if the barriers were square with the parking spots, not angled. This will allow for efficient table spacing. Most Tenafly drivers seem capable of not running into cars in the parking lanes and getting out of the square spot, so I don't think this will be a safety problem. Please open Washington Street to two-way traffic. It was closed to meet perceived desire for residents to have a pedestrian mall. This is not manifest. Almost all the tables on Washington are empty during the day. Many are empty at night. The business community loves the idea of a pedestrian mall and wishes you could make it successful. Please continue with the experiment on Railroad by the Tenafly Classic Diner. The diner is seeing a steady stream of patrons, and if the idea catches on, we will be able to see a growth there for future consideration. Meanwhile, of course, Cafe Angelique's efforts in this regard continue their prior history of making a popular local outdoor hangout. The current empty space on the west end of Washington is becoming an attractive nuisance. Children are using the empty road and sidewalks for bicycle rallies and hanging out in large groups without masks. It's not only off-putting to all the businesses, it's unsafe. Move those barricades back to the parking spots for brasserie, Vish, and build your own yogurt. They can go as far west as Arthur Murray. Local business owners are more than happy to dedicate spots on their tables as long as the restaurants are not getting all of them on their side of the street. This is a simple matter of fairness. 3 businesses should not take up all the resources of the street. Please note that there was some concern about sidewalk seating. Many of the restaurants filed for sidewalk seating exceptions as permitted under the last meeting's resolution. In all cases, the borough health inspector confirmed that there was adequate social distance for New Jersey standards. In actual fact, most of our businesses were more conservative than the guidelines and spread tables further apart. has allowed us to remain safe even when clients elect to move to get to better shade or breeze. The point is that officials have determined the setup is safe. Having individuals substituting their judgment for considered expert judgment by the government leads to recommendations for weird treatments and other remedies. I don't think we really want to be an example of this. We look forward to better solutions going forward. Please fix Washington Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew Till, I believe you're next.
Yes, hi everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Mark, would you guys mind going on mute? Just the feedback.
Give us a second. We'll go on mute. Go ahead, Lisa.
All right. First of all, I want to start by echoing something Lauren Dayton said. I don't know if it was a few minutes ago or hour or whatever. What this council has done, I'm going to go through a bunch of things in the past 6 months, and what the mayor and the council have done for this town to make things happen is earth-shattering, okay, in a great way. And I really want to commend all of you for making things happen, for paving our roads, for taking chances on things and not being stale and stagnant. I'll address some of the other comments I think some of our former officials made, but I want to thank you. I really do. And I think a lot of residents in this town are seeing what you guys are doing. And I thank Lauren. I thank you for that recap, because I think it's a lot of things that people know, don't know. But I hope all of you realize, I think you do, because this is the service that you're serving for our town. But thank you. So I just wanted to start there. Just a quick update on Tenafly Cares. And I wish the former mayor knew what he was talking about and he wasn't reading Christine Everett's posts on Facebook. The money that has been placed in the town trust has been used to feed our residents and pay our restaurants. And people are so grateful. And I want to thank you. We're finishing this up this Friday. I want to thank Adam Michaels for all this help and all the support and the necessary adjustments that the council and Tenafly and the mayor, everything you guys helped us with. And I think we really helped a lot of people. There's a lot of really appreciative folks, both seniors and people who were in need. And they're very grateful. And I think the restaurants are as well. So we're finishing it up this Friday. And I really want to thank you all for making it a very successful, I'm calling it public-private cooperation. It was because of you guys and us and all the great people that donated. And I just don't want nonsense information being posted or said that's not true. So thank you on that. I think I said this before, but the outdoor dining has really been phenomenal. People are very happy. I do appreciate all the comments that were brought up by Christine, by the former mayor, by business owners. And I think for the downtown committee, there's stuff to consider. And if there's changes that need to be made or access to the streets for people to make, we should, that's, I think that's when you guys posted this referendum or whatever it was, you said it was a work in progress. And I hope we're not hurt, we haven't hurt anyone, but all I can tell you is just major positive feedback from people enjoying the ability to be outside and eat with family and spend time together. I want to tell you that I was standing out there recently, and there was a gentleman at BYY staring up. I said to him, we were painting the barricades. I said, "Sir, is everything okay?" He said, "I live in Closter. I've never been to Tenafly before, but I saw all the tables and chairs, and I said, why did I come over here? And look, I didn't even know all these stores existed." I hope maybe he realizes Goldstein Jewelers exists. I didn't realize it until 2 weeks ago, because I think they're closed 4 out of 7 days a week. But anyway, now I know they're there, and I hope to support them. I think it's great that, as Adam Michaels brought up, we're going to let the other restaurants in the use the streets if we can and work around that. Just two other points. I am in full, just let me change subject a second. Department of Education. I don't know which any of you who have been or listened in on any of the calls the last 2 weeks. They are completely out of control. And I personally, as well as many, support anything the town council can do to rein in the Department of Education and the superintendent. I don't know if that's budget process, whatever it is. I implore you guys. I know you have no control. I know you have no say or what goes on in the Department of Education. I've only signed into 2 meetings. They can't take responsibility for anything. So if there's anything that's on anyone's mind from the council in the future about how we can get control over there, I'm in support of it. I love the Tenorfly schools, and it's been great. There's been a lot of flaws shown, with the distance learning, and now this situation with a principal hiring, very unfortunate. And I hope that there's some way in the government we can get control of this. Just one thing, and Jeff, this one I just want to point out on the street sign changes. I am all about not representing things that may be wrong in our past. But the one thing that I want to be clear about personally is I really don't want our history removed. I want to be able to teach my child that Christopher Columbus, we learn what he did wrong. And I'd like to teach him that. I don't want to erase it. So it's not about the changing the addresses, which would be a nightmare. Absolutely. I just want to, I think it should be brought to the public if this is something that's really going to happen. I think that it's important that we don't erase history. And that's all I had tonight. And thank you guys again for all you've done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Any other public speakers, public comments?
Yes, hi. This is Yelena Maytas from 11 Jewett. I just wanted to call in and say just like another praise for the downtown committee and just how wonderful it is to see sort of like our town basically come to life, especially after what happened and after the effects of COVID-19, and just to kind of see people on the streets and like the community getting together. It's just been wonderful. My family has only been here for like 2 years, but it's just been a breath of fresh air. I think that's the best way to describe it, especially after everything. So that's all I just wanted to say. So thank you to the downtown committee, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Any other members of the public there you can say?
No. So
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello. This is Maria Dimitrakopoulos from Pizza Nova.
Hi.
24 Washington Street.
Go ahead.
Okay. I would first like to thank the mayor and the council for all they are doing to help local restaurants and residents in need. Also, thank you, Tenafly Cares program. Now, as far as the tables on the street and the barricades, my husband and I will like to agree with the former mayor, Peter, and Christine. We do want to have maybe 2 tables on the parking spot in front of our store and another 2 on the sidewalk, and move the barricades just to around the parking spot so the road can be open in 2-way traffic, and plus free up a number of parking spaces for all the rest of the local businesses. And we are requesting the tables because a number of our customers, they're wondering, and they asked us to put at least a few tables. So this is how we feel about it. Parking is very important, and traffic in front of the stores is also very important. A lot of people don't want to walk far. other businesses said the same thing. And we would like you to consider that and help because we are all suffering and trying to stay open and do the best we can.
Okay, Maria, thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other callers?
No, I don't see any other hands raised. And Julie has her hand raised.
Okay, Julie will have to, any other public?
No.
All right, why don't you read those three and then I'm going to make some comments. Right?
Okay. All right.
We have three other people sent us emails that Lizette is going to summarize.
The first one is from Aisha Zikria. On Washington Street is the worst idea for small businesses which already have been hurt so badly. And now Tenafly Council makes it more difficult for them. It's not good, the worst idea. This one is from Kathy Warisani. As a hairstylist at Lige RT Salon, please reconsider the street closure for our clients and our business, especially for our elderly and handicapped clients. Thank you. And the third one is from Ilana Volkov. She wrote, I am writing regarding the barricades that were established in support of restaurants that want to offer outdoor seating. I think the intentions of that decision were terrific, and I highly support the local restaurants. That said, I believe the barricades, unfortunately, are adversely affecting many other businesses in town. For example, I understand that sales at the pet store have declined substantially since the barricades were set up. Whether that's because the parking in front of the store has been eliminated or other reasons, which I'm sure the owner can explain, it is imperative that the well-intentioned decisions of supporting local restaurants do not undermine the other local businesses. As a new pet owner, I can say the owner, Valentina, has been absolutely amazing. She is knowledgeable, empathetic, caring, loving, etc. It would be an absolute travesty if she were forced to go out of business because of the barricades, especially after she was able to overcome the already adverse financial effects that COVID-19 has had on the business. Please, 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 can you and the town council figure out another way that helps all businesses in town stay afloat? Thank you.
Okay, does it look like that's all the public comment that's so far?
Yes.
Right.
Hello.
So excuse me?
Hi, I've been trying to get in. This is Michael Kibowitz. I just had a quick comment.
Go ahead, Mike. Just your name and address, please.
Sure, Michael Kibowitz, 45 Stonehurst Drive. I just wanted to chime in to say that I've been a resident of Tenafly for approximately 6 years now. And while I understand that the goal is for all of the businesses in the downtown area to thrive, whether they be restaurants, camera stores, jewelry stores, and the like, I just wanted to say, as a resident of Tenafly, I've never seen the downtown as vibrant as it had after coming out of these dark times. And I know that there is a way for everyone to come to some sort of agreement to make the best use of the downtown area, but I just want to say as a resident that what the downtown committee and what Tenafly Cares has done has really brightened up our town. It's a sleepy small town that people don't come to, and things have changed, and it's nice to see it still alive.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Thank you. Is that the end of the?
Yes.
Okay, so a couple of things. I just want to reassure the public, the locations of barriers, tables, etc., is not a dogmatic process that we're all, anchored to. As we said from the beginning, we will move, adjust, do what we have to do, add here, take away there, whatever works, we'll do more of that. Whatever's not working, we'll do less of that. The downtown committee and our two council members who are focused on the downtown are addressing it, talking to the business owners. There are a couple of things I'm just going to throw out there. Sometimes we get different responses from business owners depending on who's speaking to them. And there's been a little bit of confusion and conflict on that issue. So business owner X may say one thing to council members and may say another thing to the mayor and potentially a third thing to other organizations. So it's important that I'm just asking that the business owners be consistent in their responses and remembering we're not dogmatic. So if you don't like, if you're speaking to me or one of the council people, just be honest and direct. We're happy to hear whatever you want. Whatever you want to say, we want to hear about it. There is a little bit of misinformation out there regarding restaurants that have tables. And there's been some suggestions that restaurants are required to hire additional employees to sanitize and clean those tables. And that is simply not accurate. And I know our borough attorney is on here, and I wanted the business owners to hear it both from me and from the borough attorney. Anthony, are you on?
I'm on, Mayor.
Hello, Anthony. Hi. Can you just explain to the public, in terms of them not being required to hire new people, they just need to keep their tables sanitized and clean? Go ahead.
Correct, Mayor. I've reviewed the applicable executive order and the underlying Department of Health guidelines that have been issued by the government. I'm unaware of any specific requirement that's been issued by the state that would require restaurant owners or any other business owners to hire additional employees in order to sanitize. The executive order speaks to the fact that it's incumbent upon each business owner to properly follow the directives of the executive order and the underlying Department of Health regulations and guidelines that have been issued since the executive order. But there is no specific requirement or mandate by the state that restaurants are required to hire people. So I hope that clarifies that issue for the council.
Okay, Anthony, I appreciate that, and more importantly for the council, for the restaurant and the business owners. Then the last comment I have about the parking situation.
They still open for comments?
Pardon me? What?
They still open for comments?
No, we're not taking any more public comment. For the past 20 years, in Tenafly, we've all been convincing ourselves there's no parking, and so
Let's hear the public comment. I mean,
we're done with the public comment. We're not having a dialogue here.
We haven't progressed to the next item.
right. Let me hear from the speaker, the resident.
But there were no more speakers.
There's one who just called. It's very difficult to get on these Zoom meetings. I think we should give a little bit of leeway.
Okay, so who was that speaker?
I am Abigail Umancer, owner of Tenafly Camera.
Okay, go ahead. New speaker.
Okay, you were telling us about the consistency, what we say to one person to another. First of all, it was a letter that we sent at the beginning because of about all this barricade going on. We already said clearly that we don't want it in front of our store. Of course, we're being impacted by this pandemic and more with these barricades in front of our stores. For instance, if you're gonna bring a 30-pound frame from my store, it's gonna be difficult to walk all the way to the parking lot. I've been consistent on this and being clear, I don't want it in front of my store. It doesn't work for me, the barricade. Okay, you guys put it in, I don't know what reason, because there's no table in front of my store. No store in there like the salon, nail salons in front. There is no tables in there. I don't find any reason. I mean, the barricade started from Tea Garden, not from all the business that we not agree with. I don't know. We've been consistent complaining about this. I don't say one thing to another, to Adam or to Christine. I clearly say I don't want that. And the cleaner said I don't want it. The kosher deli say I don't want it. It sounds like our voice doesn't count at all. I don't know what you're talking about, the inconsistency that we're saying to a one person. Yes, I mean, I respect you guys care. I really, I mean, know the idea of helping the restaurants, supporting the restaurant, but I think you guys have to know that we exist. We're there. Give business to Tenafly also, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments, and just to reiterate, we're very sensitive to your comments, and again, we are not stuck in concrete on this issue, and we're open to adjusting it as we go. So I respect your comments completely. So it doesn't sound like there's any other members of the public out there. So just back to my comment about parking spaces, and then we'll move on. You know, for the longest time, we've all convinced ourselves we have no parking spaces downtown in Tenafly. And we've got parking spaces everywhere. We've got 5 different parking lots there. We don't have a parking problem. We have a walking problem. You know, we've got 2 municipal lots at the end of Washington Street. You know, I went down there, I was there today just to take a tour to see the lots. There were almost no cars in either of them. There was 1 car parked around Oresco Circle. There were the lot across by Angelique was half full. There was nothing by the Elks Lodge and Clinton Street. And so I know that we're adjusting to a new thing. We're trying something out. But I think the message for the community and people in Tenafly and surrounding towns is there's plenty of parking. Come to Tenafly. There's plenty of parking spots, and you can go to all the stores. And just as a final comment, I'm just going to say to the business owners, we will continue to evaluate that. The dividers on the street, and we'll do what we can do that's in the best interest of all the businesses downtown. We do hear you. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for your public comments. Julie, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Thank you. Well, first, I wanted to say about what Mayor Rustin was saying. Thank you for the advice. I will approach different mayors as well as different councils about the 24-hour pharmacy need. But I just heard him mention something regarding the Tenafly cares, and I just wanted to maybe ask our CFO, like, just to clarify, but the mayor and council, we've kind of, I guess we have allowed for the Tenafly Trust, which I just wanted to make sure our CFO answers that the money that was received in the Tenafly Trust, that's been dedicated to providing residents of Tenafly with meals. I just want to ask if it's been used solely for that purpose, correct?
Okay, so we have a can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a dedicated trust that was approved by the state of New Jersey, the Division of Community Affairs, where we adopted a resolution and they approved it, saying that we could provide meals to residents of Tenafly in need, and any monies that are deposited into the trust are used solely for that purpose. So it's helping the residents and the businesses alike. Businesses prepare the meals, they're supplied to the residents in need, and then once we are invoiced, we pay the money through the trust. Everything is accounted for. Tenafly Cares is a separate entity, separate from the borough. They may raise the money, they can donate to the borough, but any donations that we receive, whether it be from Tenafly Cares or from private citizens or for businesses, are used solely for that purpose. And like I said, it was approved by the state of New Jersey.
It's just, you know, I've been, it is physically eating me alive. And I'm not good at holding myself back, so I'm going to work so hard. And I have Anthony on the line to make sure that, you know, I stay legal. But the disgustingness that there are people on this call questioning the work that people do to give over 7,000 meals to people in this town. 7,000 meals. Over $60,000 has been put in the hands of local businesses. And it's upsetting to me. I don't know. I don't actually know who I'm most upset about. The slanderous people on this call or others that I don't know. But it's just, it's so disappointing to me that the children that we give food to every single day. So, you know, I'm so proud of myself because if my wife or anyone else that knew me knew what, I am capable of, it's just disgusting. It is the worst, the worst. I could go on so much, but I'm going to be a better person. But no, when you talk about this, you're questioning our CFO and the council on giving to these people.
Adam, I want to help you out a little here.
No, it's it's.
Listen, for the rest of the public, the Tenafly Cares is a separate entity from the borough. It is donating money to the borough that we are then using to offer meals to families and seniors in our community. At the same time, Tenafly Cares has announced it is adding on to its mission's purpose to help our downtown businesses by creating this plaza or streetery or anything else we want to call it. And it is publicly stated that now it will raise some money that it will not give to the borough, but that it will give directly to giving things for the downtown plaza area. So the money that's getting donated, and it is still significant, is complete donations from our residents donating and from this organization that's coordinating this effort. We have checked with the CFO, we have checked with the state, and I say we, but I'm on the borough side and Adam is on the, helping the Tenafly Care side. Everything is being done legally. We are checking to make sure all the trusts are legal. There is nothing here that should raise a red flag to anyone. We've checked with Susan. The mayor's checked. So I just want everyone to really thank those residents who have been generously donating, and now our downtown. For those who want to build up our downtown and make it more beautiful and more functional and even more of a community space, it does take money because the borough tax money is not paying for that. So I just want to reiterate and understand, Adam's frustrations here when it's questioned, and we are double and triple checking on all of this.
Please, Christine, please keep texting in the chat messages. It's beautiful.
Okay,
It's
Adam,
really good.
We're gonna move on now, and I happen to agree with the comments of Adam and Lauren. This program is being administered with full transparency. The state, everybody is involved in this process. Our auditors, our lawyers, and anyone suggesting that somehow things are going askew is simply lying, and that's the reality of it. And let's move on to the next items. Consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended, please?
Moved.
Second. Sorry. Second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember David.
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman.
Yes.
Councilmember Menon.
Yes.
Councilmember Michaels.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Connor.
So I can agree to everything except I have to step out from the letter Y, because I'm one of those prorated refunds.
Okay, so you're abstaining from resolution 20-244.
Yes, correct. Thank you.
And Councilmember Park.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We're going to move on to committee reports. Jeff, would you like to go first, please?
Sure. The main committee report I have is Tenafly Presents. I actually asked that our draft, our concert schedule, be circulated to the council, so everybody should have that. The goal this year is
Thank you.
I'm also going to join with asking, Mayor, that be muted on your end.
We're muting.
Okay, thank
Wait,
you.
I want to just say, wait, Jeff, let me just, we are muted when we're on WebEx, but the public can apparently hear Lizette and Mark's conversation on mute. Just want to make that clear.
Okay. Anyway, so almost lost my train of thought there. We are striving to have a greater variety of music. In the past, we've had bands that at least on Tuesday, that focused mostly as cover bands. And we are now trying to go with something a little different. We're having a couple of those cover bands. We're also having several bands that are from Tenafly, which we started to do in the last couple of years. But we're also adding some more modern jazz into that mix. We're adding a Latino group that's actually very children oriented for one of our last concerts. So it's going to be a whole variety of things. Plus, on Thursdays, we're going to continue with more, I guess, quieter music, except we do have one guy who's a one-man rock band. That should be interesting. Anyway, all the concerts, though, will be held down by Hyler Park. They will not be at Davis Johnson. We've kept a couple of dates open, basically as rain dates, since we don't have the opportunity to use an indoor rain venue. I talked to committee members. I know I'd floated it with the council at our last meeting about places that we could put the band showmobile, which I've reserved. I also talked to the police chief. One of the strong options that we're looking at is there's an area just south of Cafe Angelique's current tables. So there's a few parking spots there. There's Cafe Angelique, there's a bunch of tables south of it, and then there's a little bit of an open spot in there. And if we angle the showmobile at that spot, you get all of Piermont basically, and you get all of Hyler Park. The other thing is that we are talking about, and I have to check this with our CFO, I'll have a call tomorrow, but the option of, can we use money from the concerts to buy an FM transmitter so that we can transmit to on an FM station so that people who are further down Washington Street can hear the music as it's being played live, because there's no way we can get it so that everybody everywhere can hear it. So we're trying to maximize. And the committee also, I want to thank Councilmember Michaels. He had suggested an idea of about Friday night music, and we are looking into that. No promises, but it's a good idea if we can get some just local people who basically want to set up with their own speakers and play somewhere in Washington to provide Friday night ambiance music or strolling. We're looking into what the options are. So that's my report. I'll have more next time on the planning board, because that's meeting tomorrow night. Thank you.
Okay, Jeff, thank you. Hey, looking forward to the concerts, and thank you for organizing all that. Great job. Banu, would you like to go? You're muted, Banu. Banu?
Got it. Yep.
Yeah, you are.
All right, thank you. So there was one, one committee meeting this week with the Tenafly Senior Center. Basically, it was a Zoom meeting. They were all, it was actually extra people because they changed their election timing. They have the people that are going to be stepping off, as well as the new committee members coming together on the same meeting. So this was just one meeting where that happened. Starting in September, it'll be just the new committee members that were recently brought on. A few things. There was a discussion about the 2020 budget, where they mentioned that it passed through the mayor and council, and but a couple of items that they wanted to make sure we were aware of, and that we are looking into, is that they need to still upgrade the 3 bathrooms in the senior center. And the things have been done. They're awaiting an update on contactless toilets and paper towel dispensers, and soap dispensers. They need that, otherwise they won't open until the bathrooms are done. So that's one major question that they want to make sure that it gets conveyed. As far as the summer operation, in July and August, the senior center is going to be disinfected, and so during that time they're doing some outdoor classes that are being scheduled. They have 4 classes that are taking place at Oresco Park, and Michelle, the senior center director or manager, says it's the best place to have them because the temperature there can be as much as 20 degrees cooler throughout the day than at any other park. So that's where they're having 4 of their outdoor classes. They're looking into, they discussed the ability to have the budget for the summer budget, and under consideration is requesting member donations to keep the senior center going and to provide money for the teachers. These are, they need to continue paying the teachers. They had a food drive last week, which did very well. The 2 food pantries were supplied. They have a shoppers program that's still going well and continuing with about 50 volunteers, and this is very much appreciated. The senior center also received this week a donation of 300 pounds of fresh produce, and these are going to be distributed to seniors who are included on the list of meals that were provided over the past 2 months. A lot of them, most of them, going through the Tenafly Cares Meals program, which is coming to a close this Friday. And then the senior center had 1,000 masks donated, which they're distributing to people as needed. And a final point, the person from DPW who was originally working at the senior center through the Easter Seals program and then hired by DPW was recently let go. So now they're concerned about how they have their facilities cleaned. They're looking into other alternatives, including applying for another Easter Seals worker, and we'll see how that goes. But that's a bit of a concern for them. That's it, just the one.
Okay, Vanu, Lizette's going to comment on your question about some of the dispensaries. Go ahead, Lizette.
Yes, the repairs to the bathrooms was originally in the capital budget, but now as post-COVID life is slowly underway, that includes changing a lot of the fixtures to automated sinks, automated hand dispensers, automated toilets. So that all that is being assessed in the senior center and in the municipal building. So the one thing is, once those quotes are in and those products can be ordered, that funding in the capital budget will cover that expense, plus be something that we could try to get 75% back on. And with regards to the custodian, the DPW administrative consultant is looking into cost benefit analysis of either having a janitorial service, because this person that was let go serviced the senior center and the DPW, as well as Easter Seals. Remember, Easter Seals reduced this person's hours, so it's not a sure thing, or it's one of the positions that the new DPW director will look at as a full-time hire. So that's all in the works.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. TVAC met yesterday. They met outside rather than inside the building. They distance themselves. They want to remind the public, while you're out, always distance and wear your mask. Over the pandemic time, they completed over 100 birthday parades, ages ranging from 2 to 100 years old. the Environmental Commission and the Nature Center have teamed up to do a townwide cleanup. They're meeting this Sunday at Hyler Park at 1 p.m.
Okay, is that it, Dan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you. It's 1 o'clock at Hyler Park this Sunday?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Julie, would you like to go next, please?
Sure. Yeah, my as you all know, I spoke earlier about the health commission that I'm part of, and they want the additional inspector, so that's what's going on there. And just a quick report about the census committee. We are having additional signs coming, and they have already been ordered, and I think we're just waiting for delivery. You probably see them in different towns about filling out the census. Tenafly is doing very well. Today's Tenafly's response rate was 73.9%. And just to give you a perspective, New Jersey is at a 63.5%. And nationally, it's 61.6%. So we're doing much better, but let's get it to 100%. So you'll be seeing these signs very soon. All right, that's my only other report.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. Lauren, would you like to go next, please?
So I just want to add a couple details from Dan's report on the Trash-A-Thon. So Tenafly Nature Center says that if you cannot participate in the Trash-A-Thon or cleanup effort, that you can actually sponsor those that are doing the cleanup. And everything about this cleanup and the Tenafly Trash-A-Thon for the Nature Center is on the Nature Center website. Please mute whoever's the caller. The other thing, the Tenafly Nature Center is still the pond. So if you or your family would like some beautiful portraits down at Pfister's Pond, you can also sign up on the Nature Center. It's a fundraiser. My family actually did this. It was socially distanced. The photographer kept her distance. No one touched. And hopefully we'll get some nice pictures out of it. And then my other committee reports, actually, I need a little bit of feedback. The welcoming committee would like to know if we're going to go ahead with our new residents welcome event in the fall. The welcoming committee has not met at all since March. They have no need to meet if we're not holding this event, but we would like to acknowledge those new residents that have moved into Tenorfly. Mark, can you mute? Sorry, I can't hear. And so we as a town and a borough need to decide if that event is going typically outside in Peace Plaza at Borough Hall. So I think we can do it safely and socially distant. So I just wanted
So Lauren, just to, yeah, I agree with you. We should move forward with this event. And we are, no question about it.
Well, I've been speaking to Roxana. And actually, the day that I spoke with her was the day that the governor increased the outdoor gatherings, you know, the schedule. And, you know, we just told her to just plan for it to be outside. We don't know what the indoor capability is and to work with the vendors, but it is moving forward. And they're planning to work on the invitations by mid-July to start the mailing.
Excellent. Then we'll go back to virtual meeting. The other event that we need to consider is for the Pride Day. I know we raised a flag for our Pride Month this June, but our Pride Committee would also like to have an outdoor event in the fall. So we're looking for a date for that as well.
So do you want a date recommendation for us, or do you want to recommend a few dates and then we'll make it work?
I think an application was submitted.
Was an application
Isn't Lizette and Natalie Kavanaugh, the head of the Pride Committee? Why don't you guys touch base? And that way we can do that offline.
Natalie submitted an application and is expected to be discussed in September.
Okay.
Well, we want to plan it for September. We don't want to discuss it in September.
I think the date that was provided was for an October date.
Yes, but it's going to take some planning, so we're going to need a date certain.
Okay. Any other comments, Laura?
No, yes, I'd like to welcome our new DPW director. I'm very excited for that hire. So when he comes, just know we're excited for him to start his tenure here. And I also want to just one more time thank you to Tenafly Cares for doing what you're doing in our wonderful difference in our community. Again, that's all resident donations. So thank you to all the residents that have been donating. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Adam?
Yeah, I think the town has heard enough about the horrible things our fundraising and downtown committee has done. All the horrible painting and color and the community building that's being created. I know we don't want to hear about that either. So I'll pass for this time.
Okay, let's move on.
Public hearings.
Public hearings. Hold on one second. Public hearings. Okay. Omar, you're going to read the confirmation of publication first?
Yes. Okay, so I'm looking to adopt ordinances number 20-11, ordinance number 20-12, ordinance number 20-13, and ordinance number 20-14. Okay. The following ordinance were published herewith were first read by title on June 9th, 2020, and posted on the bulletin board of the municipal lobby in the municipal center. Ordinance number 20-11, an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 2, Section 272-7 of the revised general ordinances to create the Department of Human Resources. Ordinance number 20-12, an ordinance creating a new ordinance in Chapter 2, adding Article 7, Human Resources, Section 2-77 of the revised general ordinances to establish the Department of Human Resources, delineating the organization of the department and establishing the position and duties of the manager of human resources. Ordinance number 20-13, an ordinance amending an ordinance in Chapter 2, Article 2, Section 2.8-4J of the revised ordinances to delete the responsibilities of the role of the borough administrator. Ordinance number 20-14, an ordinance to fix the salary range of certain management and administrative employees of the borough of Tenafly for the calendar year 2020.
Okay, I'd like to open the floor for any public comment on ordinances 20-11 through 20-14. Are there any members of the public who are interested in comment? Give us a second here.
No.
No members of the public? Okay, being no members of the public, Lauren, would you like to make the motion on these, please?
I move to pass and adopt on second and final reading ordinances 20-11 through 20-14, and that notice of same shall be published according to law.
Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Omar, can you please conduct the roll?
Councilmember Dayton,
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Menon,
Yes.
Councilmember Michaels,
Yes.
Councilmember O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yes.
Okay, moving to the next item, new business. Dan, would you like to make the motion here?
I move to introduce and pass on. I move to introduce and pass on first reading. Ordinance 20-15, set the hearing for July 13th, 2020 at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter in the Tenafly Municipal Center.
And ordinance 2016 that we added.
Dan, you have to add 2016 to your motion.
And 20-16.
Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Who was that?
Julie.
Julie.
Thank you, Julie. Omar, can you read the title and conduct a roll call, please?
Sure. Ordinance number 20-15, an ordinance to amend the salary, wage, or compensation of the rank of police officers of the Police Department of the Borough of Tenafly and the County of Bergen in the state of New Jersey for the calendar years 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. And ordinance number 20-16, an ordinance to amend the title, salary, wage, or compensation of employees of the Borough of the Tenafly Administrative Employees Bargaining Unit for the calendar years 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Councilmember Dayton.
Yes.
Councilmember Grossman.
Yes.
Councilmember Menon. Councilmember Michaels.
Adam, you're muted. Or did he say it?
No, he's muted.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Trying to stay quiet.
Councilmember O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilmember Park.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, we're going to go right to Mayor's remarks. And if I could beg your indulgence, I'm going to read a proclamation regarding Juneteenth. And I want to give credit for Councilman Grossman for drafting and giving his complete advice and attention to this proclamation. And thank you for the council for supporting it. Proclamation. Whereas President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, declaring the slaves in Confederate territory free, paving the way for the passing of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery in the United States of America. And whereas word about the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation was delayed some 2.5 years until June 19, 1865, in reaching authorities and African Americans in the South and Southwestern United States. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. And whereas the Borough of Tenafly recognizes Juneteenth as an important part of our nation's history, and in particular, a landmark event in putting an end to the enslavement of African Americans. Whereas there is still a significant amount of work that needs to be accomplished to educate our nation about the disparate treatment of Americans based on race by the unequal enforcement of laws. Now, therefore, I, Mark Zinna, Mayor of the Borough of Tenafly, New Jersey, do hereby declare Juneteenth 2020 in the Borough of Tenafly, and urge all citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation, state, and town. And therefore, I proclaim the Borough of Tenafly's support, respectively, for New Jersey and federal recognition of Juneteenth as a state and federal holiday, and urge our state and federal representatives to approve the enabling legislation to accomplish this goal. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Excellent, Jeff. Excellent job, Jeff. Thank you, Mayor, for reading that.
Of course. Next, Anthony, can you read the closed session? I think you might be muted, Anthony.
Yep, give me a second. I'm sorry.
Take your time. It's no problem.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Be it resolved in compliance with NJSA 10:4-12, the mayor and council of the Borough of Tenafly are going into closed executive session to discuss the following matters. A, personnel. 1, dispatcher grievance. 2, senior transportation drivers. 3, human resource management. B, attorney-client privilege. 1, Tenneco Swim Club lease. 2, Tenafly Nature Center audit.
Could motion to go into close,
Yes.
please?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, just give me a couple minutes to set up a new WebEx.
So we're all signing off, right?
Yes.
So we're all signing off. You're going to get the notification for the new WebEx shortly.